Tony lightly tapped the porcelain and immediately recognized the vase in his hand as a fake. The shop owner, seeing Tony's unique technique for identifying antiques, was astonished to realize that this was the legendary horizontal hold and pluck method. Tony then continued to explain that a local workshop used to specialize in making these kinds of imitation porcelain, and this vase was one of their replicas. Other experts, upon hearing this, were shocked by Tony's historical knowledge. They never expected such a young man to know so much about the past. At this moment, the shop owner proudly stated that the vase had undergone molecular testing, and the report from the equipment was flawless. Tony angrily insisted that they must understand the difference between real and fake items. He then turned around and took out another modern artifact, asking the owner to scrape off some of its material to compare it with the porcelain in his hand. When the owner removed the material, he was shocked to find the two materials were exactly the same. This discovery left the other experts in disbelief. Meanwhile, the young lady, observing Tony's actions, immediately realized he was a rare talent. At this point, the shop owner, seeing that the $2 million vase he bought was a fake, was so angry he nearly collapsed from shock. The young lady quickly stepped forward to comfort the owner, telling him not to take it to heart, and reminding him that she needed to put more effort into finding a gift for her grandfather's birthday. Tony, seeing the situation, walked straight out the door, and the other experts followed him outside, asking for his name. Amazed that the antiques world had gained another legend, the young lady followed Tony to the antique street, and Tony asked her what kind of gift she needed for her grandfather. The young lady said it had to be a famous collection, and the more expensive, the better. Tony immediately replied that the only thing worth anything on this street was the gold coin inside the golden cicada. He then went to negotiate with the vendor. At this moment, the young lady was stunned to see that Tony could spot the gold coin from such a distance. Meanwhile, Tony pretended to browse other items, carefully examining everything. He identified the coin as being worth around $50,000. Then, he deliberately picked up a porcelain vase, asking the vendor to explain the images on it. While casually handling the vase, Tony deliberately dropped it, causing the gold coin inside the golden cicada to fall out. The vendor, furious, grabbed Tony and demanded compensation, quickly pulling out a calculator and pressing a few buttons, declaring the compensation amount to be $7,000. Tony, hearing this, couldn't help but comment on the vendor's greed. A $100 item being demanded to pay $7,000, but he still pretended to be embarrassed, saying he only had $1,000. Hearing this, the vendor became even angrier, but others quickly stepped in to mediate. The vendor, not wanting to escalate the situation, Tony handed over the only $1,000 he had. Then, he said that since he had already paid, he should also take the broken pieces with him. The vendor, not thinking much of it, handed him a bag. Tony then, when the vendor wasn't paying attention, quietly slipped the gold coin into the bag. When the young lady saw Tony walking toward her with the coin, she couldn't help but admire his skill, thinking he had scored a big win. But Tony said it was just a little treasure. He then took the young lady to another antique shop, handing over the gold coin and asking the shopkeeper if she was interested in buying it. After inspecting it, Tony asked her how much she would offer, but the shopkeeper only offered $200, saying the coin was just a regular gold coin. Tony then reminded her to take a better look. At that moment,